All right, everybody. Welcome back to Group Chat. We have an action-packed episode. We are talking about a lot of interesting things. There's an interesting mobile report that came out.
Yes.
And it says the average person spends 4 hours a day on their mobile phone.
Seems light. We need to pick that up.
We are way above that. I'm 125% above that.
We're overachievers here over at Group Chat.
So every number you hear, multiply that by 6, and that's what we are.
So we talk about that. We're also talking about this kind of clickbaity headline that came out with Reuters on some brain and psychiatric issues post-COVID.
We're calling fake news.
Fake news on this. Instacart and DoorDash roll out a lazy loyalty program.
Soft.
Evan Spiegel is back at it.
Evan Spiegel might be my new favorite entrepreneur. Quietly sitting on 12.
We might have to delete some episodes from 2 years ago.
Delete the episodes where I call him Evan Spiegel's quietly built up a $12 billion fortune, and holy shit, he's making some moves. Tom Brady launching an NFT.
Why not?
Why not?
The NFL's too boring for him now.
And well, for someone else, they're going to be the new host of everyone's favorite game show, Jeopardy. Diddy calls out American corporations. Let's see what he does about it. Netflix with the steal of the century. You will not believe what they just paid for this. Everyone thinks it's a big number. Peanuts.
These guys are thieves.
Remember Ollie used to say at your alma mater, Harvard, we always effing win?
Yeah.
That's Netflix.
Yes. They should get that tattooed, everyone.
Yeah.
We always win. We stole this movie.
I wonder if they have jokes over there like, what number can we throw at this where people will actually still think this is a good idea?
I mean, it's genius company.
They're just
unbelievable. And then we have winners, losers, and content. And of course, everyone's favorite shout out. We'll see who appears today. Let's get into it.
Cash.
Ladies and gentlemen, Group Chat.
Cash.
It's $1 trillion. Hot.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to Group Chat. Let's end the week very, very strong.
On a high note.
On a high note. And the first high note is we had a fire newsletter this morning. Pete's a statistician now. He's gonna.
I told you guys I graduated from the journalism school at Madison, so technically I'm a journalist.
You're a data guy, data dog.
Big data. Data dog was my first toe dip into the data world.
What's interesting, there was a lot of people who were very upset about your incorrect data on some points. One was Discord.
Yep.
You know, that it is an audio.
Yep. You can do actually everything on there. And I said you only can do 2 things. Apparently you can stream, you can interact, you can do everything on Discord.
Yes. So, that's why when we talk about Pete and data, you have to build a little bit of trust.
You're a dog.
Right.
Yeah, he's the dog.
I'd rather act.
You're more dog than data.
So I'd rather ask for the forgiveness, than permission. So just blurt it out, and then if you're wrong, you're wrong.
Yeah. That's that white male confidence.
Yes. The ultimate confidence.
So what do you got? You got some interesting App Annie's 2021 mobile report. Let's hear it.
Yeah. So I'm just going to spit out a couple of the big headliner numbers, and then we'll kind of go from there. One of the big things was, as we know, venture capital into mobile tech hit a high of $73 billion last year, up 27% year over year.
On
which
what?
is,
What is the $73 billion toward?
Well, there was a number of different categories.
Investments.
Mostly, yes.
Okay.
Then we're talking, which was kind of an alarming thing, and that was mostly due to the pandemic. In 2020, mobile adoption boomed, advancing a staggering 2 to 3 years in just 12 months. So pretty much the pandemic obviously stuck us inside. But as far as mobile adoption goes, it advances 2 to 3 years.
So what that means for those that are listening is that things that people thought were going to happen over the next several years happened in 12 months.
Yes.
And for example, I think the big one is definitely groceries. I think that saw the biggest adoption because if you spoke to anyone last year about grocery online business, everyone knew it was happening, but there was talks. It's going to take 5 to 10 years.
Yep.
To see that acceleration. It happened in 30 days. The other one that I know because of just being, getting involved in the industry is alcohol consumption alcohol purchasing over the internet exploded last year.
Like all-time high.
All time, like by multiples, just because, you have this aversion to leaving your house to buy anything. So alcohol, which typically was bought at retail, all of a sudden changed. So that's an interesting takeaway. What else?
Another one, big finance apps. Of course, we're talking about Robinhood, those crooks.
Yes.
As some would call them. So participation in the stock market grew up 55% globally on mobile.
Wow.
So obviously,
what's
Robinhood's
interesting
gonna lead
is
that,
retail has already tapered off in the last month.
Yeah.
In terms of volume of trading, because obviously as things open up, people aren't sitting at home bored on their Robinhood trading.
Right.
Like, do you think your interest level in the stock market has decreased year over year?
Well, yeah, it's decreased because I realize I'm not a day trader. So, but I think
So it's a combination of people getting smoked, and then now they don't have time.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at your end of year on your trading platform and you didn't make money last year.
Yeah, they give you your results.
Yeah. I mean, my results were not pretty. So, I should not.
Mine were ugly.
Yeah. So, I mean, like most people's are probably bad despite the market being crazy.
Yes.
Because if you go in and out, you can't win.
Right.
And you just, very few people have win in the idea of trading on a daily basis. So, my guess is now that the country is reopened for the most part, you're going to see a fall off in just mobile usage, period. I think it's going to plummet.
So there's already on Postmates, DoorDash, Uber Eats, massive discount codes this
Massive.
week.
DoorDash is
It's like-
begging me
Yes.
to order.
Because
Begging.
restaurants are open.
Yes.
it's like 6 notifications a day. It's like, hey, here's 20% off, 30% off, 40%. They're like, Jesus Christ, just take the food.
I
Yeah.
think Instacart can hold a decent amount of their gains because if you realize you don't need to go to a grocery store unless it's an activity.
Yeah, so
And
that's
maybe in the
problem.
suburbs, it's an activity. In the cities, it's not.
But most of grocery is not happening in the cities.
Sure.
Groceries are happening in the suburbs. I mean, it is a suburban industry.
I think the food delivery apps are going to get crushed.
Food delivery is definitely, so kudos to Postmates for
Yeah.
getting the fuck out.
Shout out to Postmates.
Yeah, because you got out. I mean, you probably could have gone public and been worth $20 billion, but then you'd have to run the business and then
go
suffer.
down,
And suffer. But yeah, I mean, I think we're going to be surprised even with grocery delivery outside of I think in the big cities, it's just more convenient because of parking and traffic to order delivery. We were doing it pre-pandemic. We'll continue to do it. But, someone like our mom may enjoy just going for a walk or driving out, going to the grocery store, go to the post office. I mean, I've been in and out of retail the last couple of weeks. People are out. And this is an inconvenient part of town to go to stores.
I also think it's an age thing that it becomes an activity. Going and picking up food. Like our dad in the middle of the pandemic would go to Subway and pick up his sandwich.
Yeah. He likes it.
That was like an activity. Kills 30 minutes, 40 minutes.
Probably an hour.
Yeah. Drive a little slower.
Yeah. Park.
Catch a couple red lights.
Yeah, catch a red
You know
light.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think, so I think.
And just like our parents, Costco was a Sunday tradition.
Oh, yeah.
That's 3-4 hours.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, yeah, I mean, finance apps obviously was huge. So I think you'll see the engagement taper off on retail investor, but there is still just going to be this. The lift will continue.
Who I don't think will see a decline is Amazon.
No, not one bit.
No.
I think the increase in gain of because it's so damn convenient to shop on Amazon.
Yeah.
How can you go back?
Go back to where?
No, meaning if you were buying, if you had 3 purchases a week on Amazon and then the pandemic happened, you had 7 purchases a week, you're keeping those 7 purchases.
Yeah. I don't think they're.
But you're just shifting what you're purchasing exactly. So now you're purchasing for stuff going outside the house, and elsewhere rather than being inside the house and needing supplies for that.
People who didn't realized Amazon is the everything store.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, every time I go into a store and I'm like, ooh, that's kind of expensive. I literally go on Amazon immediately and I go, it's cheaper there. I'm not going to buy it here.
Yeah.
I don't even care if it's in front
I
of me.
would argue that it's not cheaper anymore. Because I'll look at things similarly, like higher ticket stuff, and I'll find it cheaper, like at Home Depot or something. but I got to go pick it up, or it's like 2 weeks to deliver. So then I just go, fuck it. I'll buy it on Amazon.
I saw a stat. Home Depot's the 5th biggest e-commerce site in the U.S.
I believe it's a great site.
Is it?
And
I've never been on the site.
Unbelievable site. I'm a big...
I would think that's a touch and fuel store. If you're remodeling your home or you're doing something in your bathroom or your kitchen.
Yeah, but it's also like you need a drill, you need this, you need that. Like there's a lot of stuff. Like I found myself going to Home Depot on Sunset quite a few times over. And it was more of just like, I could have ordered it online, but like I took Dom, he wanted to fuck around with the tools. Yeah, it was an activity. That's why like...
That's the saving grace for brick and mortar.
Yeah.
Make it an activity.
Yeah.
They should actually make it experiential, don't you think?
Well, I think new age retailers are
because that's what Costco did with the snacks, right?
Yeah.
The feeding.
The samples.
Sorry. It became an activity. We would go when we were kids. While our parents were shopping, we're just grabbing samples left, right.
Yeah, like maybe Home Depot's is like, hey, you want to drill something, hammer something? Just take a whack at it.
No, teach it. They should be teaching.
Yeah.
This is how you use this tool. This is how you use that tool.
Especially for millennials. Millennials are out to lunch on construction and basic, like I don't know how to do anything.
Yeah. There's
like
no chance.
I've had to learn some basic things,
right.
But for the most part, my wife is more efficient.
Same. I can't build anything, whether it's IKEA or it doesn't matter. There's zero chance I can build anything.
That's why we have
TaskRabbit. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like we built like a kind of a dome thing. My wife and I. Then we built this tire thing for Dominic. Like we've built a couple like things over the last year. I mean, it was hard. It took the whole freaking day to do any of these activities. So, I mean, that'll be interesting. What are some other interesting stats? There's a few more.
Yeah, TikTok, of course, as predicted, was atop all the apps. They were actually up 325% in growth. Again, pandemic caused a lot of that, but they are on track to hit 1.2 billion active users in 2021.
So I'll give you my take on TikTok, where I think, there's a lot of articles saying that TikTok's ad platform is not good. So one of our brands, maybe two of our brands, are now advertising on TikTok. It is not good. It is very, very clunky to advertise on TikTok today. That is the biggest gold mine opportunity right now. No big company can use TikTok efficiently because they need all the tools and all the data and all that stuff. This is literally early Facebook. So I would say last year was the first sign of opportunity to advertise on TikTok where you saw people having success. There is a small window, maybe 6 more months, where you're going to see like clearly inefficient opportunity on TikTok to advertise because their tools, they don't got it built yet. They don't have anywhere near what Facebook has. So if you don't do it now, it's just going to be Facebook in a year.
What do you mean?
Like as expensive.
Oh, got it. And right now, the advertising on TikTok is primarily brands just reaching out to influencers and saying, "I'm going to pay you $5,000 to do it."
No, they're running ads. So, like for example, like Young and Reckless runs ads.
Sure, and you're saying it's not that effective, or you're saying it's cheap right now?
It's cheap.
Got it.
And it's only going to be cheap.
Oh, yeah, right. I hear what you're saying.
My point is like, even the big companies that are advertising, because there are a lot of large companies advertising on TikTok. TikTok doesn't have the same tools for tracking and attribution that Facebook has. Facebook's is just way better. It's so sophisticated. Because of that, most people are very reluctant to drop the hammer on Facebook.
Because the marketing manager just needs their report so they don't get fired.
Yes.
Like, here's all the data. Here's how many impressions I got. Because that's how they get judged. Isn't that how large corporations, they go to their marketing team, say, I want 10 million impressions on this product.
Yeah.
And then they go and spend it.
Well, especially a big company, like for example, take a Unilever or Procter & Gamble. They're selling whatever, like some cleaning, Clorox or whatever, any of these companies. They know they're going to do $1 billion in sales on Clorox next year, or whatever it is. And they have a $50 million marketing budget. You just got to spend it.
Yeah, because the large corporations, the individual teams aren't incentivized to maximize efficiency.
Yeah.
They're just told to do a job, get me 10 million impressions, spend $50 million.
Yeah, because we think that'll help in conversion.
And an upstart, a startup is like, basically, if we don't spend efficiently, we go out of business.
Yeah.
So they're forced to get creative. It's why Facebook was cheap in 2012. And it took, 6-7 years for large corporations, the lazy guys, to be like, oh, I can just get my impressions here. Here's,
This time it's just going to happen a lot. That window's going to close
I agree with that.
On TikTok, everyone's complaining about their ad platform. And I'm like, oh my God, this is it. If you're going to you need to reach this demographic, you need to do it now. Because it'll be over in a year.
Yeah.
We'll literally be looking at the same CPM.
Triller's over, right? No one talks about Triller.
I don't know. I always get notifications from Triller about boxing all the time.
They're just a boxing promotion company.
Yeah.
So
they're Don King.
Yes.
Funny how that transitioned.
I mean, if you can lock up Jake and Logan Paul for all their fights, the business could work.
Sure, but you'd have to pay them billions.
I don't think so. They didn't make that. How much did they make in the last fight? $10, $20 million?
Didn't Triller raise it $1 billion?
I think they've already raised money. Yeah.
Interesting.
But their social media platform's irrelevant.
From a dancing standpoint.
And
from a usability standpoint.
No one's hitting
you were talking about the
Triller.
editing features, all of that.
Didn't they pay a bunch of TikTokers to use Triller? And
but they didn't care. It wasn't exclusive rights. So all they did was go over there and just copy their shit over to Triller and just post it. Just because Triller's like, we'll pay you money to do it.
Yeah, it's the same thing what's happening on Facebook right now is Facebook and Instagram. This is Instagram. Instagram doesn't care about the feed picture, doesn't care about feed video, doesn't care about story. All they care about is reels.
Yes.
You post a reels. This is why if you're a brand, if you're not posting reels, you're not getting organic push at all. If you use reels, you're seeing this huge lift in organic placement. Why? Because Facebook is playing God and they're like, anyone who posts reels gets way more exposure because that's the only way they can.
That's how TikTok grew.
Yeah.
Randoms and nobodies became famous, so they got encouraged that your post can go viral without being a famous person.
And so what they're doing with reels is like, okay, go figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else?
Yes, we'll go through these two really quick, but on a daily average, I know ours is way higher, but the daily average is 4.2 hours.
I'm double.
Spend on your phone. We know you are. It
4.2 hours? What are you guys spending on your phone?
Same.
8, 9?
Yeah.
Timothy?
I don't know how to check.
It gives you a weekly report.
Yeah.
Screen time.
Do you have an iPhone? Got an old iPhone. I think you still got the button.
Yeah, I still have the button.
Yeah.
I mean, you could still check. I'm sure there's a way. What are you at, Onyx?
At least 7, 8.
Yeah. I think the average time
I saw 1 week I was 6. I was very disappointed in myself.
Like, what were you doing? Reading or something?
I think it was the week I went out of town.
5 hours and 45 minutes.
Okay. So Tim's about the average.
Yeah, not really. The average is 4 hours and 2.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. The other one big is, the last one is YouTube. So YouTube one big. Users spend more on in-app purchases in YouTube than any other app. But this is just for Q1 of 2021.
Wow.
And they're crazy because we talk about Twitch and we talk about even on TikTok, you can donate to creators that are live. But more than anybody is YouTube. That's including YouTube Premium, channel membership. So similar to OnlyFans and Twitch and other places, you can actually purchase to be on like a private creators subscription service. Then they have Super Chat, which is you can pay for your messages in live chats to go to the top. And then they have stickers, so same as Bitmojis, where you have to pay for them as well.
YouTube's a monster.
I mean, YouTube is literally like the entire media industry combined. That's what it's competing against.
And what's funny is the politicians don't realize when you talk about legislating big tech, DeepMind's algorithm is what made YouTube a very good platform to a great platform.
Yeah.
And they send you down rabbit holes, whether it's conspiracy theories, fake news, doesn't matter.
There's no face. Google's been really good. Like, who runs Google?
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows who runs Google.
You don't know
Is it an Indian guy?
Yeah. Oh, there you
Nice.
go.
Okay, yeah, it's an Indian guy. Exactly.
That was,
you don't know
I could have done the blindly and guessed that.
Yeah, but that's my point. It's you got to have a face. That's the genius of Google.
And they don't talk about it. They don't talk about DeepMind making YouTube the best algorithm for media content.
No, Google's actually considering how big they are, they've done an incredible job from a PR standpoint. They don't have that reputation, like the big bad Google. Whereas Google's kind of a scary company.
Yes, YouTube is very scary.
Yeah,
when Dom's old enough to have an iPad, there's no chance you let him use YouTube.
Yeah, you gotta block it.
Even blocking it, you have to like watch what he's doing Because I think it's so easy to like, boom, boom. And then you're like, watch, what the fuck?
And then all of a sudden he's on the browser and he leaves off that browser. There's another browser. And all of a sudden he's on YouTube somehow.
Yeah, YouTube's scary.
Very scary.
He's never going to know about that.
Well, he probably won't be like the average consumer who has 38 or watches 38 hours of content each month.
On YouTube?
38 hours.
38
hours.
That's insane.
That's 6 times higher than any other streaming app.
You know what's crazy? The average person, I think, daily on Instagram is 60 minutes, I want to say.
Okay.
So that's more in a month.
30 hours. So you're saying Instagram is 30 hours.
30 hours.
And YouTube's 38.
Oh my. And YouTube's, God.
That's insane. Impressive.
Cool. And we covered a bit more into the newsletter. So if you're not subscribed to the newsletter, head over to melrosestreetjournal.com and get signed up.
Okay. All right,
congratulations to DeepMind and YouTube.
Yeah.
Google what DeepMind is
Must
to
be
learn
nice.
more about why YouTube is the biggest media platform in the world.
So crazy. All right, let's move it on to our favorite topic, the novel coronavirus.
SARS-2 COVID-19.
Yes.
So there's some data coming out that COVID survivors, a third of COVID survivors are suffering or diagnosed with a brain or psychiatric disorder within 6 months after getting COVID.
That is a very scary stat.
Jesus.
I don't know what that means. Like,
It's very scary in wording.
it's also very like
It's very broad.
very wide
It's-
range. So it's a scary headline. I mean, I got sent this by a lot of people because it's insane to even think that this is happening.
Yeah.
From a clickbait perspective, they couldn't have done a better job.
Yeah, it's as
Fantastic.
fearful as you could possibly get. It's like,
It
Jesus
says
Christ.
neurological disorders, brain,
Yes.
and then 230,000 in this trial, which is a very significant number
Yes.
of people. It's not like 1 in 50 people we saw in 230,000.
So the problem is that the biggest thing they link it to the psychiatric conditions are anxiety and depression. So to me, that's more of a function of the lockdown
yes,
than actually getting
I agree
novel
with that.
coronavirus, SARS, COVID-19, whatever. But that's why
I agree
it's
with that.
misleading.
Right.
Because if you told me that they're suffering something outside of anxiety, because there was other weird brain things they mentioned, which, maybe because they're tracking it and more people do actually have these issues and we're just not tracking it now. But anxiety and depression is just, you probably a third of the population has anxiety and depression because of the pandemic.
Yes.
And so it's not surprising that a third of COVID survivors.
and it's also anxiety and depression. It's okay in society to talk about.
Yeah.
If you think about 5 years ago,
Yeah.
it was a very kind of taboo subject. Now it's very open. Oh, if you have it, talk about it, get help, do these 5 things, go meditate, whatever the solution can be.
You don't have to be ashamed of it. I think that's the more thing is that I think in the previous, if you felt that way, you kept it quiet.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this headline is just...
I think it's shock news.
It is shock news and it went all over. It's everywhere because now it just goes back to COVID this, COVID that, blah, blah, blah. And even they say brain or psychiatric disorder within 6 months. Okay, that's some heavy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
you think it's the same way that they were saying how everybody was dying from the corona early on, even though they might have died from a heart attack, they might have died from other things, but all of a sudden everybody's dying from corona because of the possibility of, they were saying, an increase of price from the government on those deaths. Do you remember those stories?
Yeah. But I think you're kind of saying it incorrectly in the sense that when you look at the data a year later, the people that had the highest group of people that were dying had things like diabetes, obesity. They had all those comorbidities that had those issues.
Yep.
Whereas this is similar in the sense that it's easy to say broad strokes, brain or psychiatric disorder, because anxiety and depression fall under that.
Yeah.
It's just, you have to compare 230,000 regular Americans during the same time period as your sample set and say, okay, are those people, what are they suffering from?
And let's not forget, in the early part of lockdowns, COVID, it was almost shameful to admit that you got the Rona.
Yes.
People were hiding it.
Yeah.
No one wanted to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because they were like, damn, I got the Rona.
Yeah. Because it felt like you did something wrong.
Yes.
And, and I think I think the last year, there were so many impacts on society and people that this is just broad strokes. I think kind of reckless to even put out into the universe because, I was just sharing on Twitter literally a year ago about how I remember texting our friend group chat, like I said, I think I'm having a heart attack.
Yeah.
Because I literally thought I was.
We talked about it on the podcast.
Yeah. And I literally was like, I think I'm having a heart attack. And then you said that it's probably anxiety or panic attack or whatever it was. I had never felt like that in my life. And it was because business, I had no certainty on what was going on. Obviously we're concerned about everyone's health and safety. It's just all those things compiled had that impact on me. So if you asked me in March or April of last year, I probably had anxiety and depression. Of course. And then whatever, things normalized and that's why it's kind of...
I think it's almost impossible. You're almost lying to yourself if in end of March, beginning of April, regardless of your circumstances, rich, poor, middle class, if you didn't have anxiety.
Yeah.
Everything was uncertain. We had no idea what the mortality rate was. We had no idea how contagious this virus is, who it's affecting.
Yeah.
We had no idea if the economy was going to zero.
Yeah.
We had no idea where the stock market was going. We had no idea if anyone's businesses could survive.
Yeah, and I think that's really like, that's what I'm looking at for the time period of this, because I think if depending on the time of year, because they just said within 6 months, I want to know which 6 months. Because if you did it 6 months, May through November, that number seems low. It should be higher.
And this is also a function of Reuters and all media. They don't have Trump to talk about anymore.
And the virus is over.
Yeah, your two biggest things that just drove all the clicks: virus, Trump, virus, Trump. Yeah. Virus is pretty much over. Trump's gone. So now they're telling us we're all, if you got COVID, you might have a brain disorder.
Yeah, because now we all clicked on it.
Everyone clicked on it. Yeah. Everyone saw this article.
Yeah. And it to me, it was very reckless because it doesn't even say that it's comparing against a base group of these people that were not COVID survivors. And that's where it's irrelevant data if you don't share with me what the normal population is.
And what's the range of anxiety? Like, were you a little nervous or were you incapacitated?
Yeah.
Dude, two very different things.
People had anxiety over the Final Four.
What do you mean?
Like, if your team was in
such a big bet on it, I had so much anxiety.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
which game?
The national championship.
Did you win?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cash so big.
I'm just saying, like, you could have anxiety over anything. Mm-hmm. And then you could also be depressed if your team lost. So like,
I knew a lot of depressed people that night.
Yeah, and so I think, I don't know. I mean, the problem is if it was very specific outside of anxiety and depression, I'd have a little more confidence.
Yeah, if you could identify diagnosed neurological disorders like abnormal brain activity, then
pulmonary, if you had told me there are lung issues with COVID people 6 months later, I could wrap my head around that. But not this.
Yes. Good clickbait, Reuters.
Go to work. Great. So now that the world's reopening and we are now going to head out to restaurants and grocery stores and all this, Instacart and DoorDash are planning to launch their own credit cards to reward their loyal customers. I mean, this is just taking a plate out of typical retailers, what they've done in the past.
Like airline credit cards.
Macy's, airline credit cards. You have your most loyal customers. Like, if you use DoorDash, you probably use DoorDash 4 times a week. Why not have a credit card with them and receive benefits of it?
Yeah, get loyalty points.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's antiquated. I think especially coming out of these innovative technology-driven companies, they could think of a better way than signing us up for freaking credit cards.
I agree with that.
But I know that they need to reward loyalty. Like, to me, it's like, I don't think Uber or Lyft does an incredible job on loyalty programs because I don't have any loyalty to either of them. Just whoever's the fastest person to get me a ride. I hit click both of them every single time. Whoever picks me up first, the other one gets canceled. So there's no loyalty for me. It's a commoditized, I view it as a commodity. Same with food delivery. I have no loyalty to an app. If you're faster, you have the food that this guy doesn't have, then I'll order from you. So I think I don't know. I mean, I think they could be a little more clever on this.
Yeah, don't you think there should be
like faster delivery if you order,
or like a Brex for consumer?
Yeah,
where you link your bank account.
Yeah,
and they just give you like a line of credit against Instacart groceries.
Yeah, I think here's the thing is there needs to be a perk like cashback points because that is like such a big part of like how many people we know that like love Chase Sapphire, Amex Platinum, whatever. Like
Get your miles.
Yeah, like people love their like little games they play. Like we have a friend who has like 40 credit cards and he's playing all these games and it's fun. It's literally fun for people. Yeah. So I think they can do a better job on loyalty. I'm not like sold on like it's cool, like whatever, but come on, get a little more creative. All right, moving on. So Snapchat, quiet $100 billion company that no one's paying attention to, made another purchase today. What did they buy here?
They Screenshop, which was once called the Shazam of fashion. So users upload a screenshot of outfits they like and get in-app recommendations for similar purchases.
So this is what's happening in social media. I believe Facebook and Instagram are moving aggressively to figure out e-commerce. They want to figure it out. They don't want to live and die on advertising because they know it's gotten too damn expensive. Every conversation I have with like investors, they're talking about brick and mortar still. Like how do is customer acquisition cheaper at retail than it is on the internet? And for a lot of businesses, it still is. And then you have TikTok coming, who's going to steal a lot of advertising thunder at some point. Probably next year for the most part. And then Snapchat, which I think I was talking about in the office the other day. The amount of money we spend on Snapchat as an advertiser to where we were a year ago is insane. Like we will spend over $1 million this year on Snapchat between all the brands. That's nuts. We probably spent $50,000 last year.
So what did they change? Because I mean, I've been telling that Snapchat's one of the most underrated companies like a year ago.
Yeah.
But from an ad product, what did they change year over year?
So they're first of all, it's like more like programmatic, self-serving, easier to use. When we first looked at Snapchat advertising, it was exactly like Facebook. I remember when Facebook launched advertising, my friend who used to sleep on my couch he ran Facebook advertising in 2000 and whenever the hell it launched. And he was like, oh, it's $1 million minimum a month. It was like ridiculous, thresholds. Snap had the same issues where it just wasn't easy to advertise. It was like all these loopholes and like weird thresholds to advertise. Now it's like you can go spend $50 if you want. And the tracking is there. And even there, they can improve on the attribution of how they handle it because they're taking credit for a lot of purchases that I don't know if it's theirs or not. So that's why we haven't really dumped more money into it. But just to see like us, who's, in the grand scheme of advertising, an insignificant spender, I could imagine that some of these big companies really spend, big e-com companies, their budgets on Snapchat must have exploded.
It's also something to note that even when you talk about TikTok, the user growth was so insane in the last 12 months, engagement out of this world. But the back-end engineering firepower to build an ad product.
So hard.
It's so hard. Angela would always tell me this.
Yeah.
And why he would say Facebook is just so hard to disrupt.
Yeah.
Because can you have 10,000 engineers working on something? Like, how can you do that if
you can't even find 10,000 engineers? It's going to take 10 years to find those engineers.
Yeah. So that's what I think Snap was able to do initially was get the user growth, but then they went public and everyone was like, where's the earnings? Where's the earnings?
Yeah.
How are you going to figure this out? And it took, 3-4 years for them to figure out the ad product from an engineering standpoint. And now it works.
Yep. So now I think the race will be, which no one has figured out.
So it's going to be the same for TikTok.
Yeah.
They have way superior engineering because ByteDance has, endless number of engineers as well. So maybe it happens a little quicker.
Yeah.
But there is going to be a lag.
There will be a lag. But here's the biggest leap will be which of those companies actually figures out e-com. Because right now, none of them have. Like, people are getting sales through the Instagram shops. And I've heard a few people actually do some real business, but it's insignificant. Like, no one's living and dying off Instagram shopping right now. Like, it's not a real threat.
People
to
are
me.
bullish on it, though.
I agree. I think it's going to work too. The product isn't there yet.
And they have to keep the users.
But you may just need to monetize far less users, right? Like, you're now.
So do you think in the near future, Instagram goes from being a place to see content to going to place to shop?
I think so, because the
Content's terrible.
it's not there anymore. So I think they are betting. Specifically Instagram, I think becomes a shopping platform. I think Facebook stays where it's at. Like, I think Facebook owns news. Like, I honestly think they kind of are the biggest.
Real, fake, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Whatever you want, they're big. It's like YouTube and Facebook kind of own that news. I think video on Facebook is still fucking huge. Facebook groups, huge. I mean, like, we have a Menlo Club Insiders Facebook group. It is so active. Engagement is crazy. It's just
It's fascinating because if I talk to any of my friends, including myself, who I use social media often, there's no impetus to click on Facebook.
yeah, I'm on it all day.
Are you?
Yeah, I love Facebook.
What are you doing?
News. And I like groups.
Really?
I'm in the Menlo Insider group, pretty active in that. I'm in the Grand Running Club Facebook group. Obviously,
There's no chance Tim or Pete use Facebook.
I mean, I have it. I need it usually for like random stuff, but I'm not on it.
The only time I go to Facebook is check someone's birthday.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
I'm like, I know this person's birthday is around this time. Let me go figure it out.
yeah.
Or to see if someone got married, you know?
Can't you
sort of
see that on
stuff.
Instagram?
Sometimes.
Those hometown folks love to do it on Facebook. That's my favorite.
Yeah, or like
Yeah.
the third cousins, you know?
Third
pop up on
cousins, high
Facebook.
school sweethearts still kicking it. They love Facebook.
But it's okay, D. I'm sure there's
Yeah.
cool stuff on
Yeah,
there
I'm
too.
sure there's cool people. Nice things.
I'm sure
I mean,
there's
I'm
some
not
cool
really
people.
too concerned with YouTube knuckleheads thing, just to be clear.
He felt a little bit of shade.
But yeah, I mean, I definitely think, obviously they're definitely losing users in North America, but there's just still people. What are you saying?
Yeah, something I saw on Snapchat today. Jojo Siwa, pansexual.
Who?
Jojo Siwa,
Who's JoJo
the
Siwa?
little YouTube star that's like, I think she's like 18 or 19 now. Came out as pansexual.
That's just
Thought that was pretty cool. Daily Mail covered it.
okay.
Okay.
Love Snapchat. Lots of great info.
But eventually Facebook has to age out. Because if you don't have the Tim Pete generation,
Yeah.
in 10 years, Facebook user growth,
Yeah, there won't
just
be
stop.
user growth.
it'll be
just
user
monetize them.
decline.
Yeah, there is user decline already in North America.
Yeah.
But I think globally, Facebook still matters. And it's still like, okay, you have, instead of 1 billion users, you have 900 million.
I think it's 2 billion.
Okay, whatever. I'm just saying, it's just like, it's still, you're just going to monetize them. And we just know you can't count the robot out. He may figure something out.
Yeah, he's going to have to do it homegrown because they're not going to let him buy anything of value.
Yeah. Like, I think if I was him, I'd be buying content.
Buying publishers.
Yeah. If he was allowed to buy
But I
them.
think that'll make regulation so much easier. Because right now his argument is I'm a marketplace.
Yeah, I'm not a publisher.
I'm not a publisher.
Yeah.
What are these two snickering about?
I love that we represent a generation to you, like the Tim Pete generation.
Of course,
You're
we're a
age
different
group.
generation.
We're a different generation.
No, but we're terrible representatives of the whole generation.
No, but your generation.
I'm sure
is just-
every person in our generation or near it is like punching the air right now. listening to this.
your generation is terrible. So
Yeah, I
that's
know.
why you guys
But
are
like,
representation of
yeah,
it.
sure. Again, there's punching the air right now. I know people are.
Pete doesn't represent me. He's
I'm sure there'll be
fucking
DMs tomorrow. Fuck Pete and Tim. They don't represent us.
Amazing. Okay. Well, it'll be interesting to see what's going on. So, real quickly on sports, Tom Brady launching NFT platform. What the hell does this mean?
Don't look at me.
I mean, the guy doesn't have sugar. Can he have a
Can
NFT?
he have an NFT?
You gotta eat sugar to have an NFT.
Yeah, what are you going to take that up with?
Yeah, I mean, so he is he has execs from all these big companies, Apple, DraftKings, Spotify, and it's called Autograph. And it sounds like it's a sports-based NFT platform. So my guess is it's kind of unclear, but it looks like it's very similar to what Big Clout is doing, but for sports, specifically sports stars. And it'll have a range of ways for fans and collectors to kind of engage. I'm not too sure exactly what they're building here, but it looks like they're jumping into the whole game.
Yeah, and he's got a crazy list of executives that are joining as investors / board. And I don't know, it's just everyone is trying to figure out how to capitalize on NFTs. NFTs are going to exist in what form or fashion. The most interesting thing I've seen is Top Shot.
Yeah, that's the only one.
Yeah.
Everything else, I feel like it's a crapshoot.
And so do you think they're putting him as the face just for what?
Yeah,
Do you think he's actually doing a lot of the work here, or is the majority of
You
it
think he's sitting
invested?
there working on NFT? The guy's trying to win another Super Bowl. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
He's trying to ask the dumb questions here.
Yeah. I don't think he's sitting there at night trying to figure this out.
No. If he was retired,
So
maybe.
he's just the face of it.
Yeah.
Definitely just a face. Okay. Another NFL star wants to be the full-time host of Jeopardy.
Yeah, go Aaron Rodgers.
I mean,
So he's currently hosting right now,
okay, the guest host.
the
Yeah.
guest host, because they're rotating. I think Katie Couric is doing it. The executive producer is doing it a week. So he's currently doing it, and rave reviews. People are saying he's incredible.
Wow.
He's calm, doesn't show nervousness.
Obviously, we've seen that on the field.
Yes. His demeanor on the field is being reflected in his demeanor as the host of Jeopardy. He's an avid fan. He won when he did Celebrity Jeopardy.
Okay.
And
I like the move then.
he's very passionate. And he said, I can do it while still playing football because Jeopardy only records 46 days a year.
Wow.
And he said football's like 170 days a year. He goes, there's 365 days. I could fit it in.
Well, here's another question. Aaron Rodgers, since you're such a genius, why don't you quit football and make more money being the host of Jeopardy?
Why not do both?
Well, you need
You
your
just said-
brain to be the host of Jeopardy. Why would you go play football?
I mean, he had one of his best seasons last year. This guy's not
Oh
stopping.
yeah, all these old guys are killing it. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like, yo, you have this like layup opportunity because, by the way, Jeopardy probably needs a shot in the arm now because they lost like this like iconic
Legend,
host. So like Aaron Rodgers probably brings like all of a sudden.
I would tune in.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I didn't know he was the guest host.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd at least.
He's
I
like
haven't
fully
watched
bought
Jeopardy
in.
years.
He's apparently like a huge fan. He's been heavily training for this performance. He said he's been treating it like an NFL season.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what you need for that type of position.
It's also amazing how, if you think about his media training, it's just he's had cameras in front of his face, for the last 15 years, being one of the most famous football players.
I mean, probably since he was 18 when he got
Sure.
to college.
But to transition to do this as like your first time and to actually be good at it,
Yeah.
it's pretty impressive.
Have you seen it though to know he's good? Or are you just hearing?
I'm just reading about
Yeah,
it.
hearsay.
I saw highlights. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good luck, Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers.
All right. I finally washed my face.
How do you feel?
I feel pretty good. I look maybe 2-3 years younger.
You can do it.
You can.
You can.
You
Yeah.
can do it
You
too.
can do it.
I did wash my face. I did use the moisturizer.
Yeah.
Um,
Smells great.
it does smell great.
You can smell his face from here.
No, I mean the Con skincare.
Oh, you're using
Yes,
it.
I'm using it too.
Okay.
I didn't get
Tim
my,
isn't.
do I have a gift package?
I think he took
Yeah.
your gift package.
Well, no, I have one. He only brought us 3. I'll get more from him.
You took-
I don't know. There was
I have
one
one
up
and I
there,
only took
and then that one. A lot of stuff disappears out of here. Everybody likes to
of
come
course.
on.
I
in.
wonder who's taking it. There's only
Yeah.
5 people allowed to be in this room.
There's
No one
like 2
else is
people that
allowed
have
in here.
keys. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't even have keys to this room.
No,
Neither do I.
just me and Tim.
So, everyone's doing this big Grand Running Club challenge. You want to take care of your skin, take care of your face. Head over to conskin.com, KHNSKIN.com. Use the code GROUPCHAT for 20% off. The only discount they are offering. All their products are organic, cruelty-free, plant-based, and non-toxic. And I didn't even know about this. They have a 30-day, 100% money-back guarantee.
Whoa.
Pete's living.
Wow, you
You
don't
don't
like
even need
it?
free product.
Yeah.
You don't like it? Shove it up back Ash's face. Shove it up back Ash's clean face.
Ashley's like, you weren't supposed to read that part. You weren't supposed to read that part.
I like 30-day money back guarantee.
I like that.
It's
I'm
confident.
gonna see if I can send it in and get some money.
Yeah.
Off of
Next time you see him,
baggage.
next time you see him,
$40.
see if he'll give you cash right there in the spot. Man. Give me my money back.
So head over to conskin.com, use the code group chat, and get 20% off. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing too is that gyms are reopening. You got to wear masks the whole time. It's gross.
Oh yeah,
A lot of
you're
sweat
gonna
sitting on your
sweat.
face. I've been going to the
Oh.
gym and having to like wear one. It is a messy situation.
Oh, there's gonna be a huge outbreak in acne.
Yes, but good thing for me. Washing my face every day.
Good. Luckily, I don't go to a gym.
Yes, must be nice.
Gyms are for. All right, let's get back into it. So Diddy's got something to say.
Yeah.
He's writing a big letter to corporate America. And so basically, Diddy is wrote a letter to corporate America that corporate America can no longer manipulate our culture into believing incremental progress is acceptable action. And so it's really a list. It's kind of an open letter to everybody showing the power of the Black consumer. In 2019, brands spent $239 billion in advertising. Less than 1% of that was invested in Black-owned media companies. Out of the roughly $3 billion General Motors spent on advertising, we estimate only $10 million was invested in Black-owned media. So he's just highlighting like, hey, there is enormous opportunity to work with the community. So look, he's a guy that can get in the room and get people's attention. And I guess my guess is if you did this for the Latin community, you would see similar numbers that like corporate America just does not pay attention to these subsects of the economy. So he's bringing to attention. He obviously owns a media company in Revolt, so he has a vested interest to figure this out. But I'm sure all these brands and companies could be spending more money
Right.
targeting this demographic.
Yeah, I get what he's saying, but ultimately, people are going to vote with their wallet.
Yeah.
So if Black celebrities stop taking GM endorsements to market to the culture, that's impactful.
Or say like similar to what we had heard, Michael B. Jordan requires to have, a female this,
He requires diversity to be on set. That's how you make change.
Yeah.
I guess the letter making it known that this is what's going on is, I guess, fine. But if you want to make change, there's different ways to actually make change.
Yeah.
And it has to be actionable because this is just like screaming at GM.
Yeah.
But what's the actionable change?
The actual change, I think, is first step is awareness, right? With all change, you need to be aware that there's a problem. And these people, I'm sure, like, we knew there was a problem, but we didn't know it was this, the discrepancy was so big. I don't also know what is the Black-owned media landscape today? Like, who are the players in that? And where are the options for people to invest their money to target the community? So I think the next step would be for Diddy to say, okay, these are all the Black-owned media companies. These are their demographics. This is their spending power. Like, also I'm an advertiser. Make it easy for me.
Yeah, and I think unfortunately it's fragmented too.
Yeah.
Because if you think about, in my opinion, the biggest Black media company in the world is Black Twitter.
Yeah.
And how do you monetize that? Because it's just this whole
They're just
world.
not Black-owned.
Exactly, and it's fragmented. It's individuals.
Yeah. But there, I'm sure there's plenty of media, like there's like Revolt and there's World Star and there's all these different entities that clearly have these massive reaches that are probably not, no one's connected the dots from corporate America to those things. What I think that's interesting is that where, like, for example, like my guess is there's a lot of eyeballs and influence with media properties around rap, where sometimes corporate America feels kind of like weird about investing money in that area because of what it stands for. I think all that, if you're like a big corporate buyer, you can't use that moral clause anymore because you see what Barstool is doing and breaking the norms of like, it doesn't matter.
Yes.
Like the consumer doesn't care. So like, just because they're pushing rap doesn't mean they're bad people.
Is there a Black Portnoy?
Like, what do you mean? Just like a big...
Just a media, just producing content 24 hours a day that everyone looks to.
I'm sure in music, I bet you there are. I mean, Joe Budden's, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
There's probably some podcasters that were not. I mean, Breakfast Club crew, they're pretty powerful. But yeah.
I think there's a lane for that.
Yeah. But I think to the extent that Portnoy does it is rare. Like, I think like what Van Layton does from who used to be on TMZ, and I think he's with Bill Simmons now.
Yeah, he's on The Ringer.
Yeah. He does a lot of content. He's everywhere. He does a lot of cool stuff. But yeah, I mean, I think Portnoy just went off into another stratosphere in terms of his personal reach. But yeah, there's probably, I don't know. Interesting. Okay. Well, the most blockbuster movie of the year is coming. And Netflix has bought it for, in my opinion, a ridiculously cheap amount of money.
This is my point from the last 2 podcasts ago. How Netflix is playing
chess.
Yes. They're just buying this stuff for so cheap because the sticker number is so big, 30 million. Guess what? We're going to see a rant from Kanye in 3 years when he sees it's 1 billion streams.
Yeah.
And he didn't get any back end.
Yeah.
You signed the deal.
Yeah. So 21-year documentary in the process. Do you understand how big this content? This is The Last Dance.
Yes.
But bigger.
Why wouldn't he just own it and release it himself?
Who's produced by the Duo's creative control company? I don't know who's.
It's 21 years of footage. He has to be involved, right?
Yeah, I would assume West will not be involved in the production, but he has given consent to his friends who were recording this the entire time for the last 21 years. So I don't know to what this series will cover his failed 2020 presidential run. So I'll give you a very inside thing. I had several meetings with Kanye, I think a year ago, maybe 2 years ago now. 2 years ago. Probably had 4 in-person meetings in his office in Calabasas. Every single meeting was videotaped.
So are you in the documentary?
Maybe. Maybe.
You get your check?
I did definitely.
30 million bucks going around.
I mean, they give the check 30 million. I should be given $60.
Yeah.
If you got me in there for a split second. But I started thinking, I'm like, I mean, I'm obviously nobody walking into that room. I can imagine who he has walking into the room. The Elon Musks and people just like that walking into the room. So he obviously had this vision probably forever. And
it sounds like 21 years
21 years he's been, I mean.
Can you imagine the footage he has?
Like, you know what I'm more excited about? Forget the last 15 years.
Oh, I don't even care about that.
I want Dame Dash, Kanye fighting.
I want
like them.
I want all of it. I want him getting signed to The Rock, then them falling out of favor.
Yeah. This should be a 50-part series. I've watched this for the next 5 years.
At least a 21-part series, and we just cover every year.
Yeah.
At least.
Literally 21 parts. I mean, and each part should be 2 hours.
Yes.
This is it. He's the most important cultural figure since...
I mean, they did 5 parts of Jordan off 1 year of footage.
Yeah.
The Last Dance. Well, I mean, they used old clips, but the actual footage that was unseen was 1 year of footage.
Yeah. None of this has been seen.
Yes, none of it.
Oh, man, this is blockbuster. And $30 million.
Steal of century.
It's insane. When I saw
you should be afraid if you're a famous person negotiating with Netflix.
Yeah.
You're getting screwed. Doesn't matter what the number is.
No, I mean, if he got 100 million, I think that's very fair. 100 million to me feels fair.
But Netflix is so smart that if they're willing to pay 100 million, they know they're making more than you.
Yeah, that's fine. They're allowed to make money. That's like unfair to say that Netflix can't make money.
No, I know that. Yeah, but you know, there's something called loss leaders. This should be a loss leader for them because of how blockbuster this is.
Well, they probably went to the table, when Kramer just accepted
deal.
Yeah, deal. They're like, well, you throw, because think about it. Let's say they were shopping this documentary. What do you think CBS is going to offer?
$5 million.
$5 million. Exactly. What do you think, Disney Plus is going to offer? They can't even air the damn thing. Then you go to Paramount Plus. What do you mean?
2.5.
Yeah, exactly. Who has money? Okay, Amazon Prime, they probably don't have the audience to even do this, right? Like, that's not their audience. So then you go down to Apple.
They could write a check.
They could write a check. But you have foresight to like properly use the content too. Netflix, no, this is going to be, I don't know, whenever it's going to come out. It's probably going to take 5 years to come out too. Like, that's the risk that Netflix is willing to take. It may or may not come out either.
Yeah, Kanye could just start suing them.
Yeah. And then those block it. But if it's such a, blockbuster bet.
Yeah.
I love it. $30 million.
Hopefully we get to see it.
And a feature.
Obviously, I'd love a clip of myself in
Did you
that.
say anything good?
I was, because he was very inspired by my conversation with him. Great stuff. I hope I get to see the footage.
Yo, I just want to give a special shout out to D. Murthy. You inspired me.
It was an incredible, like, he's a genius. And that's the reason why I say what I say, because I got to spend a considerable amount of time and have a lot of phone calls with him where I understand why he is who he is. And it's insane. It's insane. I'm excited to see this documentary. I think it's going to take some time, though. I don't think it's just going to be released.
Yeah.
All right. Winners, losers, and content. What do you got on?
Netflix.
Oh, you love it.
Not only they got Kanye today, they got Spider-Man.
Whoa.
Wow. Spider-Man's not Disney or any of those dudes?
It's Sony.
Wow.
So they're licensing Spider-Man and I get first look at a bunch of their films.
I mean, Spider-Man could be 14 movies.
Easily. How many more Spider-Man?
Who is Spider-Man? Who's the guy now?
I don't know.
Last time I saw it was Tobey Maguire.
It's definitely someone new. It's a young kid.
I haven't watched one since then.
No, we went and saw one, actually. We saw Spider-Man at
We walked the
red carpet. Yeah, I remember. I think it was Andrew.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Andrew.
I don't even. I'll look it up.
Zendaya was definitely in it.
Yeah, Zendaya. I remember Zendaya. Damn. That's big.
Yeah. Good for Netflix.
That's huge. Okay. All right.
Tom Holland.
What?
Tom Holland.
No, you're talking about Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield.
The
Is that-
amazing, the
is he
amazing
Spider-Man?
Spider-Man. What? He
He was
was
Spider-Man.
the Spider-Man in the Amazing Spider-Man.
Okay. Got it. All right. Well, good for Netflix. Exciting times over there. My winner is Clubhouse,
Oh, why?
because I actually think they're going to get acquired.
I mean-
even though Twitter's failed attempt
Yes.
at apparently a failed attempt at acquiring them at $4 billion.
Who was Clubhouse to say no at $4 billion?
Yeah, I mean, you're not Evan Spiegel.
I actually made that comment the other day. If you are an investor or on the board of Clubhouse, if you turn down a $4 billion acquisition, this happened with Snap. Snap turned down a $3 billion acquisition, which if you dollar cost average with inflation, that's probably the equivalent of like 12 to 15 billion, the way things are priced right now.
Yeah.
And Evan Spiegel said no.
Yep.
And then the company cratered. And it took him to grind. His whole executive team left.
Yeah.
And he built a monster.
Yeah.
So you're making the bet that the founders of Clubhouse are Evan Spiegel.
Yeah. Shout out to local Evan Spiegel, too. He went to Crossroads.
Did he?
Yeah.
I know he's from Santa Monica.
Yeah. He went to Crossroads. That's
Okay.
insane. I mean, he's got to be one of the wealthier Santa Monica locals. I mean, he's worth $12 billion now.
Jesus Christ.
And he's 30.
He's 30.
Yeah. I think he just turned 30.
Jeez. He's 2 kids already? This guy
No,
really...
Miranda Kerr's kids.
Oh, okay. He didn't have any kids on their own?
I don't know.
Man, I used to give Evan Spiegel a hard time, but he did Crossroads, Stanford, worth $12 billion. Miranda Kerr is your wife. Maybe he's my winner of the week. I got to take back. Fuck Clubhouse. Evan Spiegel is like the turnaround of the century. That's unbelievable. Good for you, Evan. He kind of has a nice balance of like wealth, technology.
And not too in the public sphere.
No,
You don't even hear about him.
I don't even see him on anything. Does he do interviews? Does he do anything?
I think he just quietly built a $100 billion company.
100 billion is big.
Yeah.
That's Uber. That's all these big companies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, loser.
Gavin Newsom's marketing team.
Wow.
So I'm getting text messages from random numbers saying, "Hi, Anand, reaching out again with Gavin Newsom's Stop the Republican Recall Committee. This recall attempt is a far-right partisan power grab and a waste of money." And they're basically trying to say, can I get your support to stop the recall? They also say this recall attempt is being led by a collection of anti-maskers, anti-vaxxers, and hardcore Trump supporters.
Is that real?
That's not true.
But is that, who is sending you that?
Their campaign.
Oh, it is? It's real?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm getting texts. Brian got the same text.
Wow.
It's probably because I'm on some Democratic national committee number phone bank.
Can you only imagine what the other side, their text is getting? When they're saying,
it's just not true. It's not
God.
a bunch of anti-maskers and anti-vaxxers.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. I mean.
Yeah, because look at us.
Yeah.
We aren't those people.
No.
Interesting. My loser is fuck, I just wrote it down and I lost it. Hold on.
Surprised your winner wasn't Amanda Gorman.
Oh yes, on the cover of Vogue, right?
Yes, the
first poet ever.
Poet ever.
Your
And she was
hero.
rocking Virgil.
She was
Yeah, Off-White.
Off-White as her dress.
Yes.
Wow. Good for them. Good for them. My loser is actually I'm going to keep talking about this because it continues to be a problem. Is gun control in America. There was another. There was two insane things I read this week. One in Texas. Bangladeshi family. The two sons, I think they were teenagers, made a pact to kill their entire family and then commit suicide. And people in the neighborhood knew them as just a good family that just seemed like they were fine. Even family friends were very shocked and surprised. And what you realize is specifically with young people today, I don't know what the difference between a young person today and a young person when we were, because we all were bullied. We all were treated like shit and overcame that and went on to, go to college and then start our careers and whatever. But there's something happening today with young people that is triggering them in a whole nother way. The only difference is social media and access to social media and information that makes kids feel differently than we did growing up. So I don't know the answer to that question. The other gun violence case is there's an NFL player in South Carolina that murdered his, so he had some concussion issues and murdered his doctor who was a neighbor of his and the entire family.
Mm-hmm.
I think 6 people.
And I think technicians who were just outside.
Yes. I mean, both cases were guns. Both cases were driven by mental health issues. So there's this clear correlation with these people get access to guns, but they can't get access to proper healthcare. It's just continues to just be mind-boggling to me. That entire fucking 2 families are not here anymore because of not proper mental health kind of treatment
And access to guns.
How are these people getting guns? I just do not fucking understand it.
And we're going to do nothing about it.
No, nothing's going to happen. I don't understand what, I know people if you take my guns, you're going to take everything away. The rest of the world doesn't have access to guns. And they are, you can take a picture take said white country in Europe or in Australia. They don't have these same issues. Why are we dealing with it? It's so fucking stupid. The other loser, I got a message from someone from right outside of Toronto. So my loser is Canada. They are going into another lockdown. They have no access to vaccines. It's a shit show.
Yeah, Trudeau didn't buy enough.
Yeah, because he made a deal with the Chinese on their vaccine and now they're being stingy on who's getting it. Because they want to, they want to take care of their population first. So, we're seeing this explosion happen in LA where it's
And the access to vaccines to anyone.
Anyone. There was a notice today on social media, Cal State LA said any adult can go get it.
Mm-hmm.
Any adult. So that's that. Content
is a podcast I sent you earlier in the week that is getting rave reviews from not only internally here at the 5-4 group, even Pete listened to it.
Wow.
Mhm. And I sent it to like 3 other people.
Did you really?
Mhm.
So the podcast is Invest Like the Best, which I listen to often. Great content. And it's with the CEO of Ampush Media. It's basically all things customer acquisition via digital media spend.
Mhm.
And
His name's Jesse Pujji.
Jesse Pujji, and very informative. If you run an e-com brand and you're interested in e-commerce,
Yeah.
interested in ever spending money on Facebook, Instagram, must listen. I learned a ton.
Yeah, must listen. And I'm talking to him on direct message. He's going to come on the podcast.
Wow.
We're going to get him on here. So really interesting. That conversation, I've sent it to an entire team. We had a whole meeting about it. So I highly, highly recommend it. That was a good one. Mine is a very interesting show I found on HBO Max called Made for Love. It is some crazy batshit stuff. It's this tech billionaire who has created this like utopia in the middle of the desert, maybe in Texas, I don't know, wherever it is. And he and his wife haven't left in like 8 years. And he's just a crazy person and he wants to control like the light, the weather, the this, it's like really crazy. And basically he's built this company that is just like
he built his own city?
Sure. It's not really a city. It's really just like an area for his house. But like, he controls the environment. And his whole dream was to install like microchips in people so that they can, instead of just, like the idea is your minds are shared. So you're as one. You're so in love that you're one person pretty much mentally. So the idea is like his wife is like his test subject. He doesn't tell her. She freaks out, and it's like, I'm like halfway through the season. It is fucking crazy.
You love it.
I love it.
Any stars?
Yes, the woman is a star. I don't know who the guy is. The woman's from, what's the Palm Springs movie I love on Hulu? I think it's called Palm Springs.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's the woman from that, who I thought was really funny. She's I think the main.
So it's a comedy.
It's a comedy.
Got it.
It's funny. It's really funny. That's my content.
It's about a tech billionaire that wants to put microchips in people.
And Ray Romano's in it?
Oh yeah, Ray Romano's in it. Yes.
Wow.
He's the dad. He's the father.
He's great.
And his character.
He's hilarious.
It's really funny who his love interest is in this TV show. It is hysterical. It's good. It's great content. Okay.
Great.
Any shout outs? I have a shout out.
Yes.
Do you have any non-Satoshi shout outs?
Yes.
Okay, go for
Well,
it.
what's yours? Because it
Go,
might
go.
be the same thing. Because you were tagged in it.
Okay, so my shout out is from Lupe, who's I think husband. She's doing the Grand Running Club Challenge, and she was like, I think if he hasn't ran since 2017.
Yeah.
So she's saying you should encourage him to run. So, Jose, what the fuck
That's
are
the
you
one
doing?
I have.
Yes. Get your lazy ass up and do this run challenge.
Come on,
There's
Jose.
no excuses.
No.
Just put one foot in front of the other and keep
a
going.
mile, not that far, brother.
So what is it, 5,000 steps? Something like that?
Yeah, it's 5,000 something, 200
Yeah,
something feet.
get out
Come
and just
on.
get a nice. Just start somewhere.
Okay, Jose, you need to do this.
Hold
There's
you
gonna
to
be
it.
serious
Because
problems.
walking, you can do a slight jog, right?
Yeah, you can walk.
You can walk.
You
I'll tell
guys
you
can
what,
do it together. It'll be a
if-
nice activity.
If we get hit, if he ends up doing the mile day challenge, I'll personally send him a little group chat care package.
Wow. So now
So-
you have some real motivation.
Some real incentive now.
Okay.
And who knows what that could include? Could be athletic greens. Could be liquid IV.
Could be some weed from Pumps.
Could be some weed from Pumps. You just never know. All you New Yorkers out there, if you guys could win these packages too someday, now I can ship you weed.
All right. Anything else?
Oh, we got a shout out from Tim Kardashian.
Oh.
And this one says, "Hello, friends. Hope you're doing well today. The last episode was interesting to say the least. It was just nonstop mentions of stroking, jugs, chugs, free D. That athletic greens got you guys acting freaky. All that testosterone to try and make that short story a little longer. If that sounded corny or sus, remember, Tim said it, not me. And if you judge Tim for saying it, you're canceled. Speaking of the last episode, Drama must have thought he was Manu Ginobili, the way he Euro stepped around my challenge. The good thing is that today I enlisted my trusty friend Pete to make sure that we get an answer. Either way, it's yay or nay. I look forward to hearing what you have to say. What do you have to say?
About what?
To his challenge to bring Short Story Long back.
Oh, yeah, there's a good chance.
Yeah.
Wow.
He says July 4th. He's trying to push it. Drama kind of pushed it off.
Yeah.
I said I'd push him to do it. There's a good chance.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
I say July 4th could happen. It's a very real time.
Okay.
Well, now on to brief winners, losers
Okay.
content.
He always
Let's
throws
hear
this
it.
in
Let's
there.
hear it brief.
My winner is Kim Kardashian for becoming a billionaire. Big
Okay.
moves. Congrats. My loser is Deshaun Watson. Hope his whole situation gets figured out. Finally, content wreck for the third week in a row is Cobra Kai. Finished season 3. It was phenomenal. Can't wait for season 4.
How many times has he recommended Cobra Kai?
He's
Well, he's
third.
watching each season and recommending each season individually.
He watches a season in a week? Wow.
I think I watched that season in 2 days.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're only 8 episodes. They're 25 minutes.
Oh,
It's great. He put up the other day. He put up an edit where he put Drama's head on Tiger Woods.
His Instagram stories are quite entertaining.
Yeah.
He's slowly getting some traction on that.
Yeah. Hey, the other day he goes, for all the new followers I have, I'll do an AMA. I was like, what? I went there and he's up to like,
what are you asking this guy?
I don't know. And he's like, best one, I'll include on the next shout out.
Oh my God.
Full integration. Love it.
He finds pictures of me from like 4 years ago and photoshops them. I don't know why. I don't know if I should be concerned about that.
Oh my God. That's funny. Amazing. Okay. Anything else, guys? Are we wrapping up here?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Well, we will see everyone back here on Sunday. Enjoy the weekend. Get out there. If you're
Go run.
Go for a run.
Go for a run.
GrandRunningClub.com if you've not signed up. We have one more week allowing signups. I'm feeling good about my running. I'm pretty much running a 5K a day except for one day.
That's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
3 miles and
Yeah.
change.
It's nice.
I'm
The
sticking to
weather's
the
so
mile.
nice.
Sticking to the mile.
Sticking to a mile?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. See you guys.
Peace.